This little Café Racer, he's so cool. I think it needs its own intro music, you know, something like da, 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 da. So if you haven't seen this bike before, this is the FB Mondial HPS 125, known as the Hipster. This is the little Café Racer that my friend brought about, he bought it about 3 months ago, and I went to pick it up with him. It was an interesting journey of just over an hour. And on the way back we had about, I don't know, we had about half an hour journey before we hit the motorway, and on the motorway we did maybe half a dozen junctions, which is interesting on a 125, doing motorways. I mean, you know, they're not really made for it. Most people wouldn't go too far on a 125, although I do know one person who's been up and down the country on a 125. But it was an interesting journey anyway, and actually the bike did fine. It was absolutely chucking it down. So there I am on the motorway, trying to stay close to a truck to get a little bit of protection from the weather, but it was chucking it down the whole way. But at the time, the whole plan, the whole goal of the day was to go up and have a look at this bike, see if he liked it, which he did. He then did a little bit of haggling, agreed a price with the owner, and then we had to get the bike back. So at that point, the main focus of the day was getting the bike home. So that's what I focused on, was getting the bike home. But today I actually get to take the bike out and have fun, take the bike out and enjoy it. You know, I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy riding a 125 on the motorway in the rain, but there are better things to do. So here we are today, riding one of my favourite roads on this cute little Café Racer. I must say, I still think this bike is a little bit small, and I am 6'2". What I would say, if you're a tall person like me and you're not sure about getting one of these because you're tall and the bike's a little bit short, I would say don't be put off by it. If you're buying a 125 to potter about town and to have fun, yeah, don't let your height put you off getting one of these. You know, I still think, even sat on this bike now, yeah, my legs are a little bit, you know, my legs are meant to come to here, but they're out, you know, but I could still live with this bike, definitely. So I'll get a few stats on the screen here, but basically this is a liquid cooled 125 6-speed gearbox, putting out about 13 horsepower. But as far as 125s go, yeah, I love this bike. It's only this is only the second time I've actually ridden this bike, and yes, the first time was 3 months ago, but I feel like I've really missed this bike. Just again, there's just something about it. There's some character to this bike. It's beautiful. If you haven't seen my previous video, one thing that I did say in that video was that all of the design features of this bike seem to come together really, really well, and it all adds to the character of this lovely little bike. See, really I should have stuck my knees out then a little bit. You kind of have a choice when you're as tall as I am on a bike and you want to do a little maneuver like that. You either tuck your legs right in and hope you've got enough room, or you do a little bit of man spreading and you get your knee right out so that you can get your lock on. So when I say about all the design features of this bike, first of all I want to say, please ignore the fake L plates here. The fake L plates were a necessity today, unfortunately. So, what's with the fake L plates then? Well, my mate still rides on CBT, and so he needs L plates. And what we've done is we've swapped bikes for a week. And so what I've done is I've put the L plates back on Rafiki, which kind of makes him look weird. And I've covered up my L plates, ridden to my mate's house, swapped over the black tape so that I can ride his bike and he can still ride mine. That's all it's about, really. That's all the fake L plates are about. So the design features of this bike then that I think work really well, it starts right at the front of the bike. It starts with these lovely knobbly tyres here and the chrome mudguard. Then you got the single headlamp, which my mate wants to make into a round headlamp, and I must say I think he's right. Not that it doesn't work as it is, but if that was a round headlamp, maybe even chrome rimmed round headlamp, I think that's going to work incredibly well. You've got the bar end mirrors, which, okay, they're not standard, but they work really well. They work as well as these grips that I still absolutely love from the first time I rode this bike. The grips that match the seat. I mean, what's not to love about that? And then you've got the overall sleek lines of the bike. The twin shotgun exhaust, absolutely cannot get over how nice that is. And then you've got your twin shocks at the back and the number plate holder, which really is in an unusual position. I love it, I think it works, but the owner of this bike actually wants to take the number plate and put it at the side here, which I think would work. Although, if I'm honest, we're just not sure where to put the L plate. Do we put it up here? Do we put the number plate on one side and the L plate on the other? Really not sure. He's even toyed with the idea of putting the number plate on the right and the L plate above it. But the worry is the L plate just going to get melted by the exhaust? Yes, I can see how that conversation would go. Oh, I'm sorry, officer, I did have an L plate, but my bike melted it. I guess my bike doesn't want me to have an L plate. Well, I did say that the bike had character. Well, your bike can have all the character in the world, but I don't think you're going to convince an officer that your bike melted your L plate. Other things that the owner wants to do to this bike then is just tidy up a few little bits and pieces. Things like this rusty washer here, and there's another one down there. There's just one or two little bits and pieces that have occurred over time, primarily because the previous owner kept the bike stored outside. And lastly, this little bracket here got bent again. It was with the previous owner and this bracket got bent, unfortunately, and he has straightened it out. It is actually nice and straight now, and certainly when you look from above it appears nice and straight. But we really want to protect it and get some paint on there, get that ground down, and we'll get some paint on there. So what's it like to ride one of these bikes then? Well, like I say, I'm a sports bike guy, so when I ride something different, it takes me a minute to gel with the bike. A bit like a couple of weeks back when I had the opportunity to ride the Honda Rebel. Gorgeous motorbike, very different riding position. So it took me a minute to get comfortable on that, and then I was fine. It's the same with this bike. It takes me a couple of minutes to get used to it. You know, I'm used to a hunched over riding position, and this riding position is very upright. You know, you've got the riser bar, it's a very upright riding position, but I still gel with it pretty well. On the subject of this riser bar, I can't say that I would have a keyring personally, because it causes some damage here, which would, yeah, it wouldn't really work with my OCD, that. Although I must say, I do approve of the Star Wars keyring. Yes, I am nerdy enough to enjoy Star Wars, but that's thanks to another friend who got me into Star Wars years ago. But back to the bike, yes, I do gel with this bike pretty well. I could definitely ride this around town pretty much all day, every day. Even at 60, this bike is more than happy. It's more than comfortable, you know, on a road like this. Only this time it's not bloody raining. But yeah, this bike will happily do that. I think as a sports bike guy, you know, there's something really nice about the sit-up position of a bike, because you're not used to it. It's actually a lot more relaxing. I can see this bike doing well for many a learner. Yeah, this bike makes me feel like there's room in my life for a Café Racer, even though there probably isn't, because I actually may need to make room in my garage for another motorbike soon. But that's a story for another day.